Hey, and welcome to the podcast. This is Fan the Flames podcast, where we talk about the Calgary Flames, NHL team from Calgary, Alberta. I'm Dan.
I'm Nate.
And this is the podcast for March 8th. We've completed our first week in March, and how do you feel, Nate?
Not too good. Like last week, we came into the podcast feeling
all smiles, all thrills.
I'm the king of the world! 7 wins in a row!
And how quick the tide has turned.
Yeah. We got kicked right in the bone piece.
4 games over the span of that week. Most recent was the snoozer in Arizona. They've all been kind of snoozers against Arizona, but this was the snoozer where we lost. Shut out.
Yep.
Really not much to report on. We were shut out. We had no goals scored. Played a mediocre performance, I would say.
Second of a back-to-back.
First of the back-to-back was Vegas. That was a decent game. Fleury was probably the biggest star. Goalie controversy factored in.
Yeah, what did you think of that disallowed goal?
I don't know, because there's been a string of them. There was second the Calgary got goalie interference called back during the week. First one, Minnesota, but we'll get that later. What I thought about that one was the call of them on the ice should have stood. And they reviewed it, and it came down to it was a judgment call. I mean, I don't know how many people in Toronto make the decision, but you grab another group, they may come up with a different decision.
Yeah, and I think the ref gets to look at the replay and decide as well.
Yeah.
So the ref standing there with the tablet is checking.
Yeah.
It was a long review.
It was, and they looked at it pretty hard. And there was been a couple of those going on in the league, and they just don't seem any clear. It gets to the point where, how much contact was that? Was enough contact in the blue paint, out of the blue paint? Who initiated? Was he pushed?
Yeah, and that's my criticism of this call, is that the contact was on the butt of the stick. So Fleury, he could have dropped his stick. And the butt of his stick was outside the blue paint.
No, Fleury spun around. That's what Fleury did.
Right, he held on to the stick. But Tkachuk did not touch Fleury. He touched his stick, and the stick was sticking out, like it was outside the blue paint. So it was kind of, Tkachuk was in an area he's legally allowed to be in, and the stick was actually outside.
Yeah, I feel that too. It was in the white, and they both had a right to fight for it. I don't feel Tkachuk really interfered on Fleury that much. You show their view, and I can see why they spent a lot of time thinking about it, and not too happy in the end. But I'm not ready to put up a big argument against that call. It just underlines how unclear it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of subjectivity to that call.
Then call back to the Arizona game. Smith got a bit knocked on, took forever to get up, and they were fishing for the goalie interference call. Smith knew exactly what he was doing, not jumping straight back up to his feet.
I don't know if Smith ever knows what he's doing, because I know we're jumping ahead a few games, but he stood behind the net for 5 minutes on a goal when he could have got back to his net.
That was a different game.
But still, you don't know. He's laying, he's standing, he's kind of he gets confused what's going on.
He could possibly be on drugs. Anyways, in the Vegas game, 2-1, the one goal came from a defenseman, Hamnick, rifled in a nice shot. It was tied 1-1, going to third. Then none other than Derek Englund blasting the go-ahead goal for Vegas. They beat us 2-1.
Yeah, and I thought in that game, Riddick actually played very well.
Yeah, I thought so too, but Fleury played better.
Right. It was really, both goalies were great. One was a little better. And even the goal that England scored, Riddick got bumped in the head his own defenseman right when the puck was being shot.
Yeah, I didn't catch that till you pointed out, but that sucks, man, because I saw him punching his head.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing like stupid motion, but that didn't make sense.
No, and I think he thought it was the Vegas guy who hit him in the head.
So he was trying to look for a call.
Yeah.
Outgoalied was the theme from the Toronto and Minnesota game. Toronto 6-2 Leafs, Rick and Nick. Tyler Innes for Toronto scores a hat trick. Hats off to him. For Flames, was it? They were all looking good. All four forward lines looking good.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I thought the Flames actually played quite well.
Yeah,
Riddick was like, that's the worst game of the season, which happens. You have a bad game sometimes.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, it was just a matter, as you say, outgoalied. Anderson was really good, and Riddick in that game was really bad.
Yeah, and then I guess that's the best summary there. Outgoalied, no lucky bounces, bad breaks on some of the Toronto goals.
The puck seemed to be really bouncing that game.
And then take it back to Minnesota. Doobie outgoalied Smithy, but Smith had a good game in that 4-2 loss.
Yeah.
And as mentioned before, there was a goal called back. Was it not?
I don't remember, actually. That one was so long ago, I don't remember.
Bennett, I think he got called. Yeah, Bennett got called for interference when Zarnik scored the goal. I think that one was a little more clear, though.
Yeah, Bennett was driving the net.
Yeah.
And he got his shot away. And if he had scored, it probably would have been okay.
Yeah.
But because he didn't score, he really hit the goalie hard. And
And I think he was also pushed, and that's why he didn't get a penalty. But because Dubnyk wasn't able to get back.
Yeah, there was contact, but Bennett's done it a few times where he drives the net hard. And he's not targeting the goalie, but he's reckless. He doesn't care if he kind of spins out and hits the goalie.
And finished up that game, Hamnick also scored. So it was back-to-back goals for Hamnick between Minnesota and Toronto. Oh, sorry. No, he scored in Minnesota and in Vegas.
Yeah. But that's actually, as we run through the summaries, the goalies, for the most part, they had 3 out of 4 games were pretty good. But the defense scoring... And really not much from the offense. How big of concern is it for you that our offense seems to have dried up a bit?
Yeah, and that's the underlying factor here. We did face some pretty good goalies by Devin Dubnyk, Minnesota.
Yeah, he's on a hot streak.
Frederick Anderson, Toronto. Yeah. He's playing awesome. Fleury, the Flower, pretty good. And Kemper, I didn't think he was good, but Kemper's on a hot streak too.
Yeah,
I think 8-1 last starts.
I didn't realize he had been doing that good, but it's always a double-edged sword because you can say, oh, the goalies are playing so well, but sometimes when you're not playing well, it kind of makes the goalies look good.
But we were playing well in Minnesota and Toronto. The shots were there. We outshot them those games. I think Vegas was a little closer. Same with Arizona, about even shots. So, that's what hurts the most. It was a downward trend in offense. Minnesota, Toronto looked good, then Vegas looked less good, and Arizona kind of just a shit pile.
Yeah, and I have some advanced stats for you today.
Oh, wonderful.
Some analytics. So there's this one stat, it's called Corsi 4, which is basically like a possession type of number. So 50% means it's like even.
Okay.
And over 50 is good. And in the last 4 games, the Flames have 58%. So that's like a very high Corsi score.
It's them controlling the puck for most of the game.
Yeah, and getting shots as well.
The stat includes shots?
Yeah, the actual stat, I believe, has to do with shots generated towards the net. Not on net, but towards.
Within the puck possession time.
Something like that, yeah. I don't know all the mathematics behind it, but I know 58 is a very high number.
Okay.
And there's another number called PDO, and I have the definition here. I should check what it stands for. PDO.
Plays, points,
percentage, and save percentage.
Was it
shooting percentage and save percentage. I don't know the acronym, but it has to do with shooting percentage and save percentage. And basically 100 means you're even in this one.
What do you mean even?
If someone scores 100, it means your shooting percentage and save percentage is about league average.
Okay.
And the lower the number, the actual better. So if you're below 100, it means that you're shooting a lot and not scoring that much. And the Flames are at 90, which is actually another very high analytic number. So people in analytics communities would look at this and say 90, that means the Flames are due to start scoring more.
Yes, because the chances are there, but the goals aren't going in. I see.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, those numbers pretty much sum up what we've witnessed over this last week.
Because if you were going to forget the scoreboards, if you were going to grade the 4 games from A to F, what would you, just based on play and that type of stuff, how would you grade the Flames?
Toronto, Minnesota, I'd say B+. Then Vegas, probably closer B- C. Arizona, C. I mean, Arizona wasn't terrible by the Flames. They just had nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and I have a theory actually behind what's been happening lately. And
let's hear it.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Nate's theories.
So in
it should
February,
be music or something.
Yeah, we should get an intro.
Nate's theories with Nate.
Okay, so everyone talked in February about our 3 trips to the East Coast and how this was going to be a very difficult month, February, that much travel, tough games, and the Flames did really well. And then it comes to March, and maybe you have some type of hangover because it was so tiring, so intense, you were so successful.
Yeah, that's what we were feeling for the Minnesota game.
Yeah, and maybe guys are tired at this point in the season. So maybe getting home, getting a nice long homestand without so much travel. Guys like Goudreau, Monahan. Because Monahan, he's kind of been invisible the last 2 weeks. Maybe some of those guys will start to show a bit more.
I tried to single out Monahan too, but he did score in Minnesota. He had that power play goal. So he's not doing any worse than Lindholm or Gaudreau. Well, Gaudreau's always doing better than everyone else. But I wouldn't rate Monahan lower than Lindholm or... Oh, no, Kachuk's playing good too. Okay, you're right. Sorry, that was roundabout logic. You're right. Monahan is not playing his best hockey.
He's just less noticeable.
He's less noticeable, kind of fading in the lower lines. He's not being the power play goal scorer performer.
Because he is your number one center. You count on him defensively and offensively. So if your number one center is a little off his game, it can affect everyone around him.
And so your theory is they're back, they're rested.
My theory is this is just hangover from the tough February.
Yes, a hangover from the bad trip. Yes, I sure hope that is the case. Another player I singled out just because of our bet is Bennett.
Oh, yeah.
How are we doing on the Bennett front?
I can't. I don't know what points.
Let me tell you.
Oh, hold on. Before you get to the points, of course we have this bet that he'll break the 30-point mark.
Yeah,
but I have to say, just the eye test, I'm actually quite happy with Bennett as a power forward. But let's get to the goals and assists.
So Bennett sits at 24 points.
Oh, not bad. On pace.
It's been around 6 games since he's racked a point. I think it was... I can't quite remember when, but it was an assist. And it's been about since February 21st since he scored.
Okay, so not too bad. For a guy with 24 points, that's not that long of a drought, actually.
But lately, he just... losing pace, I mean, it just makes our bet that more interesting.